All right, so I have not heard anywhere in the past 72 hours someone trying to give a truly nonpartisan take on Trump's immigration ban and how it affects the tech sector, because it's potentially big. So some rules for myself: no Trump bashing, no left bashing, no bashing at all. I can criticize some policy. So with that being said, here we go. Last Friday, President Trump issued an executive order indefinitely barring Syrian refugees from entering the United States, suspended all refugee admissions for 120 days, and blocked citizens of 7 Muslim-majority countries, namely Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen. Now, the White House has stated that this was an attempt to protect Americans from terrorists trying to enter the country and harm American people. But this does raise the question as to why there wasn't a similar ban from countries like Saudi Arabia and Egypt, the countries where terrorists have come from in the past. Almost all the terrorists from 9/11 came from those two countries. There's been no explanation on that. Now, there was an important development over the past 24 hours. The White House Chief of Staff did clarify that this immigration ban does not affect those who currently have working green cards and have been vetted through the security process, thereby not affecting directly as much as we once thought tech companies like Google, Amazon, and Apple. That was a big stink, and a lot of tech leaders spoke out very, very loudly. CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai, wrote that, quote, "It's painful to see the personal cost of this executive order on our colleagues," in a leaked email to Google employees. Twitter said, "Twitter is built by immigrants of all religions. We stand for and with them, always." Airbnb, Uber, Lyft, Facebook, Google, Apple, Amazon, and a host of others have said that they oppose the ban and have expressed concerns about the implications of the order. Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, went so far as to say that Apple would not exist without immigration. Okay, so although this executive order doesn't directly affect those with working green cards right now, as it was previously thought, it is worrying tech recruiters. I spoke with a veteran recruiter today who tries to place candidates in the US all day long. She said she has been told by her CEO not to try and place any candidates who aren't already in the US. That is crazy, because she sourced many of her candidates from other countries, and they're just not going to risk it anymore. Even though those candidates may not come from one of those 7 countries, they're just not going to risk using a whole bunch of resources to find these people and then finding out another 90 days that Trump's banned some other country. They're just not going to do it. And that's crazy. That's going to affect so many qualified candidates who could have a positive impact on the US economy. So, what is the long-term implication of this if it continues or, God forbid, gets worse? Now, I will grant you that some of the media has been a bit melodramatic and overreacted to this. But I should say that if this does continue or get worse, tech companies can only do one logical thing: begin to move operations overseas. If they can't immigrate the talent, they're going to have to go elsewhere to get it, because the US does not have enough tech talent to meet the demand. I know a recruiter very well, and she warns me that the big war is the war for talent. And that's not good news for the US. You see, the number one problem to even talking about this is that things have gotten so out of hand that when I share my opinion, someone's going to pigeonhole me as a stupid libtard or a racist redneck. One of the two. No one's listening anymore. I'm just waiting for you to finish so I can say what I want to say. If I don't really listen and try and understand why you feel the way you feel, we can't come to a solution. We're just shouting over each other. It's like pro-life versus pro-choice, Android versus Apple. Everyone's in a tribal camp and they just want to shout at each other. No one's trying to solve a problem. And you just gotta listen. So I spent the last 72 hours listening. Why would people want such a broad sweeping ban like this? Because on the surface, I just didn't understand it. So I listened, and I understand that people were saying, look, we want our country back. There's been, I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm assuming when they say that, they mean that there's just been so many rapid changes and America is changing so fast and doesn't look like the America they know and are proud of and are comfortable with. They want their country back. They also say that they want a safe country, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to protect our country and protect our own interests. And you're right, there's nothing wrong with that. So don't call people stupid rednecks for just saying that. They're not automatically racist because they say they want to keep out terrorists. I totally understand that. And that's a value I share. Here's the thing. We can still have a safe country and be inclusive of all people and draw the talent from around the world to make this country great again, right? I mean, they don't have to be mutually exclusive. The problem is that we want solutions now that are simple. And so you can just, with one broad stroke, just solve the problem. But you can't, because the problem's complicated. And solving a complicated problem takes time and thought, and it's going to be sticky, and it's going to be hard. And let's just listen to each other so we can solve the hard problems. Now, contrary to what was said in the comments yesterday, I am not a liberal, I am not a Republican, I'm not even a libertarian. What I am is like Chris Rock. I'm conservative on some things and liberal on some others. I try and make my judgment based on the information that I have. And the information that I've learned over the past 72 hours tells me that this immigration ban is like not the tool to solve the problem. It's way overkill. It's sort of like a man in his house trying to dispatch a killer wasp with a sledgehammer. And at the end of the day, the man is wondering why his house is almost destroyed. America, don't be the man with the sledgehammer trying to kill a wasp. Now, if I had shared everything that I learned over the past weekend, the show would have been way too long. But I did want to share a book that I read last year that is very relevant to this, called The Day of Empire by Amy Chow. And it's about the rise and fall of hyperpowers. Hyperpowers are defined as a country that is the sole superpower in the known world. So most recently, that's been the US. But in the past, it's been ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, the Mongol Empire, the Ottoman Empire. These were countries that were so dominant that they just did not have an equal in the known world at the time. And one thing that they all had in common, fascinating. Do you know what it is? They all were inclusive. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Jayce, the Mongol Empire wasn't inclusive. They steamrolled over all their opponents. That's true. But one smart thing they all did was they took the human resources from those conquered domains and integrated them into their armies, into their administrations, and into their governments. All of them. That's the one common characteristic of all those hyperpowers. And when they fell because they then lost that inclusivity.